Okay, so this is Marcel Lab at BBL Lab, and today I'm here with none other than Jay Marriott. So, how are you doing today?
Hello, mate. I'm good. Yeah, thanks for the invite, and looking forward to a chat.
Yeah. So I guess to start off with, for the people that may not know, explain who you are, what you do, your background, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so I'm a former professional basketball player, and I'm now the GM and head coach of the Gloucester City Queens.
Yeah.
It's a new franchise that's just coming into the league this year, so we're pretty excited to take part in the WBBL. So yeah, 10 years as a pro player, about 5 years coaching. I've took a little break, and now I've come back and in a slightly bigger role, but still coaching as well.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess the whole, plan of the Gloucester Sport Plan, how did that kind of come about, and when was the idea first pitched?
So it came up last year. So Alex Petheram, who's the co-owner of the football club up here, me and him go back about 20 odd years. So when I was still playing, he was a sponsor. He was a really active sponsor down in Plymouth.
Okay, cool.
He has family up here in Gloucester, so he relocated, moved on to, not just being high up in a business, but going on to own his own business and become, a very successful man. And a friend of his owned the football club here. He got involved 3 years ago. It's been very successful. They've built New Meadow Park, bringing football back to Gloucester for the first time since 2007 because of the floods. And yeah, they've just been sustainable. So he felt this move could be plausible. So we always said we would work with each other again. And you never knew. We never knew how serious that would. If it came about, then great. If it didn't, then don't worry. But he started asking me all those questions last year. How much is a franchise for BBL? How much is a franchise for WBBL? What's the appetite in Gloucester for basketball and all these kind of things. So we just started throwing ideas around, and we felt it was plausible and went for it.
Yeah, it was. So you mentioned it came about last year. So obviously, COVID, how difficult was it kind of forming it during COVID times? And was there any added, I'm sure there's lots of obstacles anyway. Was there any added obstacles, with COVID in the works?
Yeah, definitely. I think a few dominoes had to fall into place. So it was how much that the football leagues were going to support through the pandemic and how that was all going to play out. So that was the reason why it took a lot more time. And we were just, to be honest, we're both really happy in our life at that time. So we were just batting around these ideas in the evening and playing around with it a little bit. And it only really got serious the start of this year, where we pulled a business plan together and we started looking at it, and we thought, it's very plausible, it's very realistic. There's nothing in there that we were trying to glamorize. So we felt pretty comfortable submitting that with the league.
Okay. So you mentioned, obviously, you took a break from coaching. When you took that break, was it always in your mind to go back into coaching like you have done now?
No, I don't think so. I think at the time that it happened, I had a young family.
Okay.
And a lot of my offers were abroad, so I didn't have the best time in the BBL taking over as a pro coach, but I had a really successful career in Utah, did really, really well in the Middle East, and these were all places that wasn't necessarily plausible for my family. So I was starting to get into the business side of basketball anyway, so that was really piquing my interest. And some opportunities came up, and we thought, hey, let's be settled somewhere for once. Let's have some security. Let's spend time with the family. Let's recharge. I let it go for a little while. I let it go as in, I wasn't really looking at much. And then the BBL show opportunity came up. With Drew, and I started watching a lot of basketball. And started watching a lot of BBL basketball. You know, and then that led to watching a lot of NBA, and then that led to watching a lot of college basketball, and then a lot of the women's game, and it just kind of snowballed. And that fire was there, and the stars have got to align with these things. You know, the stars have to align, and it has to be the right time. And you know, my family had to be comfortable with me making this move. We've got family here in Gloucester, so there's so many other things than just, hey, let's get back into basketball. There's some legacy here for my family, and you know, I want our name to carry here in Gloucester as us doing something successful in sport. So yeah, it's just, there's a lot of factors, but just the right time.
Yeah, well, I guess that's a big thing, because obviously, especially with players, you know, overseas players, I can imagine it's a big deal, you know, spending years out from family and that. So I guess, you know, being able to do something you enjoy, but then having family nearby is, you know, it's very important, and it's key, and it makes it a lot easier, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So your first game for Gloucester, you know, coaching, October 2nd against the Cardiff Met Archers. How excited are you, you know, to get back to it?
Yeah, we're just itching to get going, you know. So we've had 6 practices now. We play on Saturday in a preseason game that's going to be pretty emotional, you know, because we're doing it for a local chairman here that passed away, Tom Ranger. You know, he really was somebody that had the early conversations with Alex about basketball and his hopes and dreams for bringing professional basketball. So it's going to be great to try and have this be a yearly event and honor his name. So that's going to be a lot of fun, and we're thankful for Reading coming up to play us. And then obviously we have the cup competition before the 2nd of October. So we play a double header in Cardiff. So we play Cardiff first. So we're actually going to play them before we play them, if that makes sense. And then we play Leicester on the Sunday, and then we go all the way down to Oaklands and play them on the Wednesday, all before our home opener. So that's really exciting. You know, for me, that's really exciting. But I think the key is the 2nd October is having everything in place here to host not just a WBBL game, but we want to be trying to bring the best entertainment we possibly can. You know, like a BBL game. You know, we want the music, we want the razzmatazz. You know, we're introducing next week an MC that people will more than know their name, and you know, we just want to make it a lot of fun.
Yeah. So so as a coach, it'd be interesting to see how you kind of value the different kind of competitions. You know, I think it was spoken about on the BBL show for the British Basketball League, but so for the women's BBL, how do you value all the different competitions?
I think it's interesting, like in our first season, genuinely, like I'm probably a broken record on any interview so far, is that we just want to make sure that the league at the end of the season go, wow, what a great decision that was to bring the Queens into the league. But I think if you're looking at it as an overall season, like over the next couple of years, what I really want to go after is, I think that first competition is fantastic, because it gives you a real opportunity. If you can get out of your group, you're straight into a semi-final, and anything can happen. I think the consistency of the league is going to be tough, you know, because there's some really great teams, and they all seem to be leveling up. You know, you look around, I think every team in the league is leveled up from last year, which is you know, which is really cool. Like that's a really it's daunting in a fun way, you know, because we're going to be playing great teams all the time. You know, and then you get another shot, you know, kind of later on in the you know, when you look at the playoffs, we want to make sure that we're always in the playoffs. We want to always be in the mix, and we just want to be, we want to be one of those teams, no matter where we are in the spots, that teams just don't want to play us because we're a banana skin for them.
Yeah. Okay. Also, so obviously, I guess I'm going to use kind of a school analogy. It's kind of, so the Queens are kind of like the new kid on the block, you know, in a way. Would you say you feel there's kind of a target on your back heading in, as in teams may want to make sure, you know, they kind of beat you, or is there any kind of thing? Because in with school, if when the new kid joins, everyone, you know, kind of jumps on it. But so do you feel there's kind of a target on your back as the Queens?
I don't know. That's an interesting question, because I doubt we're going to know that before the season. But I feel like the league and a lot of the coaches have been great. You know, I was going through this process where I was deciding if I was going to coach, and you know, Chris Bunton, if he doesn't mind me naming him, like Newcastle Eagles, was just like, you got to do it. You know, get involved, come and be a part. The women's game's fantastic, and you know, he's not wrong. We're just 6 practices in, and I'm loving it. But yeah, you know, there's going to be some teams, and we've seen that noise on social media as well. There's some people that just believe you have to pay your dues before you jump in, right? So we've just come out of nowhere, and people may feel like we haven't thought about it properly, or we're just going to try and throw finance at it, and that's just not the case. You know, we've got a plan. We have an on-court plan. We have an off-court plan of how we mean to carry this project forward. And yeah, I don't know. I'm imagining a lot of teams just don't really know what to make of us, you know, and being new in the league. I'm imagining some teams that had a tough season last year want to improve, and then those top teams, you know, I'm sure they're not sweating us, you know.
So I guess, you know, you mentioned about, you know, people talking. I guess it could be relating like kind of what happened in the BBL a couple of years ago with the Royals. They want to kind of see it stick, because, you know, there was a lot of stuff about maybe the BBL should have done more to check out whoever was involved with the Royals and that sort of thing. So maybe that's where people are coming from in that respect. So yeah. But moving on to the Kings, was there an attempt made to kind of join the BBL? Or
so the plan is to try and go into the BBL. Yes. Our business plan has always been to try and attempt to go into the league next season. And you know, things are ever changing all the time. So
of course,
we have to work through that process, just like anybody else. I mean, I can't speak of the mistakes of the past, but like I can just speak of the process I'm going through. Like the BBL really thorough. And I just think people were confused because when we spoke to the league, you know, when Worcester dropped out, it was a big shock. And you know, we kind of said, you know, do you want us to be ready? Do you want us to try and accelerate this process? And you know, they very politely said, no, we're going to be patient. We're going to work through this. When Plymouth dropped out, it obviously became a more realistic conversation. So we all looked at it. And I think we all just didn't feel comfortable. You know, I think that you're right. Some people are right in what they're saying about like the Royals, and before that it was Birmingham. And, you know, I think everybody just wants to make sure they get it right. So it's not going to hurt. It's not going to hurt anybody having to wait. You know, but for me personally, as a GM, you know, I'm really passionate about the women's game. Like I really believe last year it took a big step.
Definitely.
And I think that it's you know, it really is a sleeping giant of a product if we can give it some airtime and we can get it out there. And so I'm pretty committed to that right now and focusing on that than overlooking that situation into something else. So we've put a business plan in for both. But you know, there's a lot of things that go into making sure that you get a BBL franchise. I don't know whether that was in place when the Royals, but I can only speak of what's happening right now. It's a pretty thorough situation.
Yeah, well, that's very good to hear. But I know for sure with the WBBL, I'm trying to kind of get more and more involved and learn what's going on, because and that's not like consciously, I guess it's more with the WBBL. I've never really known where to look, or, you know, how to gain access and watch games and that kind of thing. But I think definitely last year, it definitely did take a big step. And whether that was with the Sky, because I know a lot of the time the women games that were on Sky turn out to be more exciting than the men's games, and, you know, especially with the finals and that kind of thing. So yeah. So how do you feel about the Queens roster, and what? I know it's hard because it's the first season, but what are your expectations for the first season?
Yeah, I mean, I'm delighted about our roster right now. So we're going to be pretty short on our roster, and we'll just be open about that. That's fine. Like,
Yeah,
it's, you
yeah.
know, if people feel like that's giving away a tactic or giving away some knowledge, we've got 6 pros on contract right now, and then
Yeah.
we have 4 trialists with us that really are going to
Okay,
be
cool.
development players. So they're
Yeah, yeah,
players
yeah.
we're going to try and help develop and see if they can get into our rotation through the season. But no, I'm really, really happy. Like, we were under massive restrictions, so
Yeah, yeah.
as a new franchise, you have to apply to the home office to be able to hand out visas.
Oh,
So
okay. Yeah.
so when we spoke to them, it's usually a process that takes about 8 weeks.
Yeah.
But due to the pandemic, it's taken a lot longer, and they said it can be up to 6 months. So we decided to focus on not having American players this year. And then also with Brexit, it means you can't
Yeah.
just go and find a talented Spanish player from Europe, So we had to look. Basically, had to look for British passport players, Irish passport players, or European players that have played in this country before.
Yeah, yeah.
So that gives us, like, we're working in a 20% margin, whereas everybody else working in that 100% margin. So that made things difficult. And honestly, like, I can just say that we've just gone for the best available talent with our budget. And the idea being is that we want to build on that core. So we need to work really hard that those 6 pros feel valued and feel like this is the place for them. And then when we're in a place to be able to have that home office grant us the visas, then we can start to look at our situation and see how we can grow and develop, and for me, with the roster we have right now, that's a really scary thought.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So a question I've got as well, which has been interesting. It was a big deal with the Lions last season, and with a comment made by Ovi Soko on Instagram the past couple of days. It's about kind of managing egos of players. Obviously the Lions have got this huge squad of about 12 amazing guys who could be the star on kind of any team. So as a coach, how difficult is it to make sure everyone's happy, getting the minutes and that kind of thing?
Well, I think if you look at the London Lions situation, like, wow, what a thankless task that is, that
Yeah,
you've got to
yeah.
try and keep, everybody got suckered into feeling like, that roster was just going to be unstoppable.
Yeah.
And you have problems like that. That just genuinely happens, like, I don't feel like, that's the first time when Vince has legitimately had, almost unlimited resources to do whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like, look, people have to accept that sometimes you put a team together in your head, and then when it comes together, it doesn't work, or it has to go through a natural curve before it comes to it. And I feel like the Lions, like, it wasn't. I don't feel like the Lions failed. They had some trophy success, but they definitely underachieved.
I think everyone people definitely expected more and expected them to get going quicker than he did, sort of thing. Definitely.
Yeah, and but when you look at it, we were supposed to be treated to seeing Mullins, and that never materialized. Kevin Ware, I don't think quite worked out, and something happened there with Liggins, like, after they won that trophy, where arguably you think they're going to the next level and they're going to go and take another trophy, and they took a bit of a step back, really. And that just, that's just part of the pains of the sport. And I'm sure Vince would be hurting from that, and hopefully learn some lessons and manage a roster like that. For me, I've got an easy job, right? We've got 6 girls on contract. They know they're going to be playing.
Yeah.
They're going to have to play big minutes, and my focus is just got to be getting the best out of those girls. Whereas when you've got a 12, 15-man roster and you got to leave 5 people off, they're not going to like you, and it doesn't matter how nice of a guy you are, or how infectious you are, like that Vince is. There are going to be people that have bad things to say about you, or not going to be happy, or not agree with your selection. So it's a bit of it's cool. Like, imagine having an unlimited resource, but then on the flip side, it's a thankless task.
For sure. But yeah, so because like I said, it was a big thing, you know, last season, and I hope that they kind of figured it out this year, especially with going into Europe. It'd be nice to see, and same for the WBBL team, you know, going into Europe as well. It'd be nice to see a British team or a British franchise be the trailblazers for British basketball and kind of represent us and show us off in a way, you know, and bring more eyes over here. But it's been brilliant talking to you. It's been nice gaining insight into the Queens and the Kings, and I'll be sure to be tuning into some games, and maybe when you come up and play the Mystics, I'll come to one live. So yeah,
there can't be any maybe.
I will.
You have to make a game. You have to promise to make a game. But yeah, one thing I'll say is just thankful for your time, mate. Really am. Like you did a really great job last year, and I'm excited for you to. You know, you're just going to keep getting better. You know, you're young, right? Me and Drew old. We're probably on the decline. You guys are the talent now, so we're just excited to see what you keep doing. All right, buddy. So thanks so much for having me.
Thank you.